Graphing linear equations is one of my favorite lessons in algebra because it is super easy. Now let's take a look at this one. We learned about the slope last time, where if you go up and then you go to the right, and the slope is going to be positive, and then when you go up and you go to the left, the slope is going to be negative. We learned that if you have a horizontal line, okay, the slope is 0, and then we learned that if you have a vertical line, then the slope is undefined. So here we go. Let's start with the positive slope. You go up, and then you go to the right. Next, for the negative slope, again, we have the variable m. We use the letter m to represent the slope. So for the negative slope, we go up. Again, you always go up, but this time you have to go to the left. For zero slope, it is a horizontal line, and for an undefined slope, then it is a vertical line. Okay? Again, for the positive slope, up, right. Negative slope, you always go up and then left. 0, horizontal, and then undefined is going to be a vertical line. Here we go. Now, remember that that you have y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and then b is your y-intercept. Okay? P and T. There we go. Now the question here is, what is a y-intercept? A y-intercept is a point along the y, that's why we call it y-intercept, along the y-axis, where the graph is crossing that point along the y-axis. So for example here, your y-intercept is -5, so again we're talking about the y-axis, and your -5 is here. That is our -5. And that is our y-intercept, that's our y-intercept. And then from that point, you can go ahead and apply the rise over run. It's positive, that's why you always go up, and then because it's positive, then you go to the right. You go up twice, and then right 3 times. 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3. Here you go, that's going to be your second point, and now you have your graph. This is it. That's how easy it is. Given the equation, all you have to do is to make sure that you have the y equals mx plus b form. We call it slope-intercept form, where the intercept is given and the slope is given as well, and then plot the y-intercept, and then you go apply your rise over run. And that's about it. Now how about this? How about if we have y equals -2 over 5x plus 1? Okay. Now again, always start from the y-intercept, and the y-intercept is 1. Your slope is -2 over 5. Again, you always go up, always go up. You go up twice, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to the left. Why did we go to the left? Because it's negative. And the graph is a diagonal line to the left. How about y equals 8x minus 4? Now let me erase these two. Here we go. Again, always start with the y-intercept. Y-intercept is -4. And then the slope is 8. Again, when we are talking about rise over run, we're talking about rise over run, which is numerator over denominator. So here, this is not in fraction form, but what do you think is the denominator of 8? If we want to apply the rise over run, if you have 8, the denominator of 8 will always be 1. So that means the denominator of a whole number or any negative number that is that is not fraction, then the denominator is always 1. So here we have 8, then the denominator is 1. So that means you go up 8 times and then you go to the right 1 time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to the right 1 time. And the graph is very steep. Okay, now we just graphed 3 lines here, and you gotta remember to graph these lines first. You have to make sure you know your y-intercept, and then apply a rise over run. Always go up. If it's positive slope, go to the right. If it's a negative slope, go to the left. Okay, how about now having x equals 1? X equals 1 is a line where it should pass 1 on the x-axis. So first identify your 1, positive 1 on your x-axis. Here you go. Now, do you have a slope? It is not in y equals mx plus b. So we cannot tell if there is a slope. That's why I'll just go ahead and draw a vertical line, because if you cannot tell your slope, that means it is undefined. Again, for x equals 1, the slope is going to be undefined. How about y equals 3? Okay, well, it looks like it is in y equals mx plus b. Okay, which is y equals 3. So what happened to mx? Probably the slope is 0, because 0 times x is 0, so just basically ignore it. So that means you have to find the number 3 on the y-axis, and then because you have a slope of 0x, or just get rid of 0x, and that means you have a horizontal line. Okay. Okay. How about x equals -5? First, look for -5 on the x-axis. Just like here, you just have to draw a vertical line passing -5 of x. And last one is y -4. Y -4, it's in y equals mx plus b, and then y equals -4 here, but the slope is 0x. We just have to use -4. That means find -4 of y, and then now you have a horizontal line passing that -4. So just draw a horizontal line passing the -4 of the y. Okay, so how about this? Pause your computer and then go ahead and graph these points. Graph these lines. Okay, let's start with this one. Again, always start with the y-intercept. Y-intercept is -4. You go up 5 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you gotta remember, we went to the right. I went to the right because the slope is positive. Next, y-intercept again. Start with 3. Always start for the y-axis. And now I should have a slope in rise over run form. That means I need to change a whole number 2 into a fraction. Again, any number will always have a denominator of 1. So you go up and then go to the right 1 time. From positive 3, here we go. You go up 1, 2, and then 1 time to the right. Okay, is this in y? Is this in y equals mx plus b form? Yes, it is. But unfortunately, the slope of this is 0x. That's why we didn't put 0x, because 0 times x is none. So we're just going to put negative, we're just going to look for -2 along the y-axis. And because the slope is 0, and we learned that if the slope of the line is 0, then it should be a horizontal line. Next. Is this in y equals mx plus b form? No. That's why we're going to assume that it's a vertical line passing -4 along the x. Here, y equals -2, so you got to look for -2 along the y-axis. And now that you have x equals -4, it should be -4 on the x-axis, and then here you go. Just draw a vertical line passing that -4 of x. Now let's go ahead and match the two columns. Here we got the equations, and then here we got the directions of the lines. So let's start with this. First, to know whether a line is going to left or right, or a diagonal line to left or right, or a vertical line, horizontal line, make sure you know your slope. Here, your slope is 5. It's positive. That's why the graph is going to the right. Because of the positive slope, you go up and then you go to the right. For a negative slope, it is going to the left. Y equals, is it in y equals mx plus b form? Yes, it is. But the slope is 0x, that's why we didn't put x in y equals mx plus b. Because 0 times x is 0, so that means having a line with a slope of 0, it is a horizontal line. And then this is not in y equals mx plus b, therefore the graph would be a vertical line. That's about it.